I'm registered dietitian Abby Sharp, and on my new podcast, Bite Back with Abby Sharp, I'll be dismantling the multi-billion-dollar diet industry that keeps us in a cycle of self-loathing and food fear. Join me every Tuesday for expert interviews, engaging conversations, and my signature science and sass to bust myths, correct misinformation, and help you break free from diet culture for good. Listen for free on the Seeker app or wherever you get your podcasts.
You're listening to a Frequency Podcast Network production.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
This is the Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Welcome to Wednesday. My name is Brock.
I'm Dalby.
I don't know if you saw the news, but yesterday it was announced that they're finally going to build a bullet train here in Canada. They're going to do one from Toronto to Quebec City.
Honestly, I don't know how we haven't put more money into the idea of this. We've talked many times on this show about what a pain in the ass it is to get from one end of this country to the other. And it feels like this is something we should have been on by now.
It only took 1 million via rail trains breaking down for this to happen. But also, it's like for the past 20 years, I mean, you look at places like Tokyo, Taiwan, Korea, like they've had these things already.
Right.
It's not new technology.
This is not something where we're like, it almost feels like we were like letting them be a test program. We're like, we'll let you guys have way cooler transportation than us for like 20 years, and then maybe we'll get on board.
I was thinking they should have like a naming contest. Maybe like you could name it like the Swayze Express in honor of the Trailer Park Boys.
That's such a deep cut reference that I love it.
Or you name it the Johnson.
Why the Johnson of all things?
Because a track and field star Ben Johnson, of course.
You wouldn't name it the Bailey? The Donovan?
The Johnson's got a better ring to it.
We've had better sprinters, better fast-moving people that didn't get busted for steroids.
Well, it's fitting because if you think about it, any time that you've ever gone on a train, they lie about the schedules. He lied about being on steroids, so it's kind of fitting. They both go fast, they both lie.
Trains are on tracks, Ben Johnson was on drugs. It all makes sense.
It all tracks, doesn't it?
Shut the fuck up.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Not long now until we'll be getting the first batch of report cards for our kids in schools this year.
I guess it's that time of the year, yeah.
Yeah, did you see that BC has changed how they're doing report cards this year?
What do you mean, like they're not doing A, B, C, D, F?
They got rid of, I think Fs are off the table in general.
Oh.
I think society canceled the F
What,
grade.
they don't want kids failing anymore?
Well, it's kind of that, and then there's the connotation of an F being like really negative for the kids. The problem is, though, if there's no F, then that's just what a D is,
Yeah.
right? Like, it's still the same feeling.
I was stoked to get a D sometimes. So.
Right, because you had a worse option.
Yeah.
Right, now you don't. Now a D is the worst you can get.
So what are they doing in BC?
They got rid of the letter grades for kindergarten through grade 9. They're keeping them for 10, 11, and 12. But if you're in 9 or under, they're now using, I think they're calling them progression terms.
I hate that. I hate this already.
Really bad. So it starts with emerging is the worst grade that you can get.
Okay.
Then you get developing. That would be like your C's, maybe like B minus. Proficient would be like a B, B plus. Like they're saying that's what students should be shooting for.
Yeah.
And then extending means that you are above average, but still not perfect.
I don't like... I hate all of it. Why is extending better than proficient?
Because you are extending your skills and your knowledge beyond what is expected of you.
Okay, so extending is an A, proficient is a B, developing is a C, and emerging is a D?
Essentially, that's what it lands on. Yeah.
Also, developing sounds worse than emerging.
Yeah, I would feel like if I'm still in the development phase, then I kind of get it. I merge to the next level, but they've got it switched, which parents in BC are complaining. They're like, I don't even know what this means. Mm-hmm. They're like, I don't know if I should be grounding my kid or not. I don't know if I need a tutor or not.
As a kid, it's confusing as hell, too. They didn't need to change any of this.
Well, that's just it. It's like the letter grades. Yeah, getting a D or an F as a student was a bummer. Like, it didn't feel good. But it also was a good chance to, like, motivate you to try and do better.
It also sounds weird for your kid to come home and be like, Mom, I'm extended.
Like, I loved, if I got an A, or God, if I got an A+, I walked around like 7 feet tall. I was so proud of myself. If I come home with a report card that says extending, I'm like, I think I did okay.
I'm also going to be crushed if my teacher tells me I'm developing. It also sounds super weird for a teacher to have like parent-teacher interviews and be like, your daughter is developing.
Imagine getting a developing in health class. I don't know how to take this. I don't know what you're trying to tell me. Not to mention, it just sounds condescending. Like, it sounds like something you would say to someone when you're trying to tell them they're dumb, but you're trying to be nice about it. It's like, hey, you're really emerging.
It's basically being like your heart of thinking. That's what it sounds like.
You're really developing, and we're all proud of you.
Yeah. You're developing at a 3rd grade pace in a 5th grade class.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Someone texted in here and said, what about the whole plus minus thing? Are they still going to, is it going to be like a merging plus?
Right. Or I guess you could use, like, if it's a minus, you could use like a question mark. It's like, developing?
That's the minus.
He's not quite there.
Yeah.
And then you could use like a thumbs up emoji or just an exclamation point at the end. It's like, he's proficient.
Or even you could do like a ...
Oh, God.
That stings even more. Yeah.
You're almost proficient, but not quite there. Proficient, ... No.
I do like that someone said they should honestly just start saying trying their best, or your kid has some challenges. Like,
yeah, he's a challenging student. Oh, that's not a good thing, is it?
He's trying.
Or like, I've never seen it done that way before. That's completely new to me. Hearing that from a teacher at a parent-teacher interview, just be like, oh, so we need a tutor then.
It's got to be tough to be a teacher in those parent-teacher interviews, because I just end up being like, yeah, your kid's got a smooth brain, like, you know?
Like, it really is a challenge to try and find polite ways to let somebody know, like, hey, your kid is way behind everybody else. Like, this is just not working out. Or you just say, like, you know, bless his heart. He's trying.
Yeah, and you know, he's only got 2 brain cells, but both of them are fighting for 3rd place, so he's...
I saw someone text in the phrase, knowledge has always been chasing you. You've always just been a little bit faster. And that comes across as so complimentary till you think about it. You're like, oh, my soul.
Imagine seeing that in the notes for your kid.
Your kid is just a little faster than the lessons we're trying to teach him.
Just any of those phrases that people use, like not the brightest bulb in the drawer, not the sharpest spoon in the drawer. Or
Turns
whatever.
out your son's elevator doesn't go all the way to the top, but we're really working on it here this year. Or just sitting in class and just hear like, oh, honey.
Oh,
like
that
in
stings.
that condescending voice. Oh, honey, this is not for you.
Your kid gets a strong nose exhale as their grade.
It just says sigh in the comments.
Yeah.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
We just got this message come in here on the bad line.
Just want to let you know I just bought $100 of your 50/50 tickets there.
Thank you.
Can't wait to win that jackpot. And can't wait to see you guys get your 3rd nipple there. We're talking at work, though. He had us thinking, if you could have a 3rd nipple anywhere on your body, where would you put it? I mean, I guess what would be the best place to have a 3rd nipple?
It is a good question.
Is there a good place to have a 3rd nipple?
I mean, the ankle most definitely isn't it, because it's exposed all the time, be very cold.
Yeah.
If you have high socks, you know when your socks kind of like make your legs chafe? Imagine that.
Yeah.
And like, I'm a runner, so like, I'll tell you, my nipples chafe from my shirts all the time.
You
like,
know what? I didn't consider the chafing aspect, because the first thing that came to my mind was that I would want it somewhere kind of tucked away.
Hidden.
Somewhere hidden. Mm-hmm. I was thinking the back of the knee. Like in that space in the back there.
Oh, then it gets sweaty and it's always rubbing up against everything.
That's the problem. I was like, that's the perfect spot for it. Who's ever going to notice it? It's out of the way. But you're right. The chafing would be insufferable.
Armpit is another one that would be like logical, but then like if you scratch or if someone tickles you,
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh, that could really go in the wrong
get
direction.
a purple nurple in the nipple instead of a tickle.
I got skin tags there already. It would kind of blend in.
Yeah.
But still not a good spot.
Belly button might actually work pretty well because then it just looks like a weird outie.
You just tell people you've got an outie belly button.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, they'll never know that this is actually a third nipple.
You could get away with putting it on your face.
Call it a mole.
Well, because you have a beard.
Oh, me specifically. Yeah, hide it underneath the beard.
Anyone who's got good facial hair, you could hide it under the beard, right?
Although, then the first time you go to, like, trim, like, you think getting a purple nurple hurts. Imagine catching it with the beard guard. Oh!
But then wouldn't it be nice to, like, when you're thinking, and I've seen you do it, and you start, like, kind of caressing your beard hair.
When you start stroking your chin.
You're just rubbing your nip.
Not in public.
I think the best place would have to be by your privates. Like, if you put it up above there.
Just above the hips?
Yeah, like where the hair is, down there. Yeah. It's more hidden. It could be a special secret that only you and your personal lovers get to know. And depending on if your nipples, make you horny.
Right.
It could make things more intimate.
You're keeping all of your bits in the same neighborhood, so to speak.
Yeah.
Although, again, having it up that high, if you go to wear, like, pants, it's going to get caught in the waistband.
Getting your nipple caught in your zipper?
Oh, God!
This is the Brock and Dalby Podcast.
You guys use any sounds to help you fall asleep? I know when I try and fall asleep, I always use the fan noise. We've talked about that before. You're a TV guy, right?
I'll have the TV on sometimes. For the most part, if I'm just sleeping by myself, I'll put on music. Or, to be honest, I sleep with a CPAP machine. I'm already lulled to sleep by the sound of Darth Vader breathing through my own lungs.
The only reason I bring it up is KFC is teaming up with a sleep wellness company to provide the public with an experience to help them relax and sleep. The sound of their chicken being fried.
How is that a relaxing sound?
I guess there was a thing on the internet where people noticed that the sound of chicken frying also sounds like rain. And
what?
Rain sounds is one of the things people use to help themselves fall asleep.
Rain sounds, first of all, rain sounds is crazy. You're just daring yourself to pee the bed. But I do know people like to use rainforest rain sounds. That is a very classic go-to-sleep technique. I have worked at a KFC. It's not the same sound.
I don't know. This is the sound that they have on the app for the KFC chicken rain, I guess you could call it.
It's those pops that would drive me nuts.
It kind of sounds like rain, though.
I get it kind of sounds like rain on a tarp, maybe, but those little like pop, 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 pop. I would be laying in bed thinking that my arm is about to get burnt the whole night. I would be having dreams about being boiled.
Yeah, I guess as a former KFC employee, it might trigger you a little bit.
It's a little too close to home.
I've also heard people say that, like, the bacon sounds help them sleep before.
We've talked about this before, and I don't get that one either. I get, like, the smell of bacon to wake you up, but the sound of bacon...
Because it sounds like the rain. It's the same kind of thing, the frying, right?
I guess, yeah.
I mean, even the rain in general, I would have a tough time listening to going to bed. I feel like that would just make me have to take a leak.
That's what I'm saying, man. Your bladder would just constantly be in overdrive of like, am I supposed to be going to sleep right now? Yeah. Because this feels dangerous.
I think the weirdest one is the whale noises.
Yeah. Who finds that comforting? If I'm in a place where I can hear actual whales making actual whale noises, I'm not going to sleep. That's scary.
It sounds like someone's locked in the bottom of a well or something. Or like a sad dog crying.
Someone's calling for help, and you're just going to drift off to sleep, you animal.
Sounds like Sloth from the Goonies is coming through the sewers or something.
Hey, you guys.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
We do got a good friend of the show, Sam, on the phone. Sam, what sound helps you fall asleep?
Oh, that'd be my girlfriend snoring. It's very relaxing and calming how loud and vibrating it shakes the bed.
Now, let me ask you this. When she's away or for whatever reason you're not sleeping together, do you actually find it more difficult to sleep without the snoring?
Sometimes, yeah, but that's more of the activities before we fall asleep.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, you're just not as tired when she's not around.
You don't put on
exactly.
a snoring noise off of YouTube before you go to bed?
That would be a good idea.
Yeah, that's called Stockholm Syndrome, my brother.
Hey, thanks for the chat with us, man.
Overall, thank you.
Cheers.
Have a good one.
Yeah, you too. I feel like there probably is people who do enjoy their partners snoring.
Oh, I imagine, because it's a comfort thing after a while, right? Like, when you start a new relationship and get to the point where you're sharing a bed together and then you find out your partner snores, that first period of adjustment is just like, oh my God, I have to fall asleep first or I'm going to kill you.
But like you said, when they're not there, maybe it just...
Then all of a sudden, it's like... If you sleep with a fan and then you don't sleep with a fan, you're just like, I've never noticed how quiet this room can be.
Some weird stuff on the text line here, though. Some people saying, like, bubble wrap popping. Someone said crinkling paper, which I could not imagine falling asleep to that at all.
Psychopath behavior. No offense to the person who texted today, but you're crazy.
Someone else texted in, have you ever heard Swiss cowbells puts me to sleep instantly?
Is that a Swiss cowbell?
This sounds like horror movie stuff.
This is in Twister right before the big tornado hits.
Yeah.
And all the wind chimes in town are starting to go a little nuts. I would be laying in bed just being like, well, gonna die.
And the weirdest one is a few people texting in saying the sound of a ticking clock.
No. What? That would... No, you cannot have a ticking clock. A loud clock cannot be on the same floor as my bedroom or I'll lose my mind.
I mean, I've fallen asleep watching 60 Minutes before, but like when I was a kid, I used to stay at my buddy Lorenzo's house and they had this giant clock on the wall in the basement.
Yeah.
And every time I'd sleep over, I'd pull the battery out of the bed because that like tick, 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 that drives me insane.
Oh, especially if it's got like a second hand that tick, 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 tick.
Yeah,
I'm not going to bed. I will lay here until my body gives up from exhaustion.
Yeah.
There's no way I'm going to sleep.
Michael just texted in and he says, I'm going to bed now. I fall asleep to you guys on the radio, which I don't know how to take that one.
All right, good night, bud. Have a great sleep.
I'm registered dietitian Abby Sharp, and on my new podcast, Bite Back with Abby Sharp, I'll be dismantling the multi-billion-dollar diet industry that keeps us in a cycle of self-loathing and food fear. Join me every Tuesday for expert interviews, engaging conversations, and my signature science and sass to bust myths, correct misinformation, and help you break free from diet culture for good. Listen for free on the Seeker app or wherever you get your podcasts.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
This is Halloween, this is Halloween, 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 Halloween.
All right, with Halloween being tomorrow, I wanted to try something here.
All right.
I saw that Halloween Alley, the opposite of Spirit Halloween.
Yeah. I've seen a Halloween Alley before.
They put out a list of the top 10 greatest Halloween candies of all time. Keep in mind, they are Canadian.
Okay, yeah. I used to go to one in Regina.
So I was wondering, as our designated food lover?
Fat guy.
Designated fat guy? I didn't want to say it.
Hey, listen, we've known each other too long for you to beat around that bush now.
If I put a minute on the clock, do you think you could fill out the top 10 that they said was the best Halloween candies of all time?
Before you start the timer, I just want to ask really quick, because you say of all time, are there candies on this list that, like, you were giving out in the 60s that aren't around anymore?
No, I'd say it's pretty boilerplate stuff of, like, right now.
Okay. I'll give it a shot. I love me some candy.
Okay, so you list them off. I'll tell you where they rank or if they didn't make the top 10. All right, you ready?
Okay. Wait, you got a timer?
Yeah, we'll do a minute, okay?
Okay.
3, 2, 1, go.
Reese Pieces.
That was
Reese Peanut Butter Cups.
number 1.
Okay. Kit Kat.
That was number 7.
Coffee Crisp.
That was number 9.
Okay. Mars Bars.
Mars Bar was number 6.
Wow. Okay, we're killing it. Is candy corn on there? Let's get this out of the way.
Candy corn is not on there.
Good. Okay, it's a good list then. Smarties.
Smarties didn't make the list actually.
Hershey's Cookies and Cream. Hershey's Kisses.
Hershey's Kisses is number 10. Yeah.
What's that, 5? The Kurz molasses, the little black and white ones?
Absolutely not.
The Kraft caramel cubes, are those?
No.
No, those not on there?
Not on there.
Oh no, I'm blanking.
Think the opposite of Smarties.
M&M's.
M&M's was number 3.
Is there 2 like M&M peanuts or just M&M's?
M&Ms.
Okay. What else do my kids get? Jolly Ranchers?
Jolly Ranchers not on the list.
Rockets.
No.
No Rockets?
No, they didn't give those ecstasy pills on there.
Suckers? Licorice?
No, so the ones you missed out on, number 8 was Sour Patch Kids.
Oh!
Number 5 was Snickers.
I always forget about Snickers.
Number 4 was Starburst, and number 2 was Skittles were the ones that you missed.
Well, okay, first of all, if you're giving out Skittles, good house. Well done. Proud of you for that. Most people cheap out. The Starburst one I also should have. I don't feel too bad about the other 2, about Sour Patch Kids or Snickers.
I will say, what the hell was saying that the Kurz molasses should be on there?
Listen, at some point you stop. I started with all the candy I like. At some point you just start listing things off, right?
Yeah.
I'm not saying it should be top 10, but it might have been.
I was going to say 20 years of smoking really killed your taste buds, brother.
Yeah, and the Kurz molasses took care of the rest.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Did you see that we might be getting a mail strike next week?
Is Canada Post looking at doing another one?
Yeah, they did a big vote with the workers here, I guess, yesterday or earlier this week at the very least. They voted overwhelmingly in favor, according to this news article, of a strike with a labor dispute. They could be in a position to go on strike for Canada Post as of November 3rd, which would be Sunday, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, damn, that's quick.
So, if you're like me and you've got relatives across the country that you're thinking about sending Christmas presents to, might be needing to get those in the mail by the end of the week here.
But then again, at the same time, Canada Post does happen to go on strike. Perfect excuse not to buy presents for the extended family this year. Right?
I can't imagine calling my mom and be like, hey, sorry, you're not getting a Christmas present this year. Canada Post went on strike. What am I supposed to do?
It's not your fault. What else are you supposed to do?
I don't have time to buy, wrap, and send a present before the potential strike, so I'm just not going to do it.
If your family cares about you, they're not going to let you pay extra money for FedEx or UPS or anything like that.
I guess I did forget there are other options aside from Canada Post. Mm-hmm. You can still send it. So you really are counting on your relatives for your strategy, being like, oh no, FedEx is too expensive.
Dude, just in general, I mean, who delivers all the letters to Santa? Canada Post.
Oh.
Your kids don't get what they wanted for Christmas.
Damn.
You have a valid excuse this year.
Are you sure you're not a parent? You got parent brain. Let me just tell you that right now. There's something inside you that has thought these scenarios through before.
You can really give your kids whatever Santa wants. I'd word that differently, but yeah.
I'm just picturing giving my 8-year-old a bundle of ankle socks this year for Christmas and just being like,
Santa didn't get any of your letters.
Sorry, buddy, Canada Post went on strike. Santa didn't know you wanted that new Super Mario game for Christmas.
Yeah. It's the same reason that my mushrooms couldn't come in the mail, too.
Oh, damn it. The Mario ones, you mean?
Of course.
This is the Brock and Dalby Podcast. Would you rather Wednesday? Would you rather Wednesday?
All right, let's get weird. 762-555. You can still send your would you rathers in. First one here says, would you rather get the nipple tattoo on your ankle or would you rather just get your nipple pierced?
I would rather get the nipple tattoo, if I'm being honest. I just don't picture a world in which I'm happy to have my nipple pierced.
The only thing about the nipple piercing is you can remove it at least.
Eventually, yeah, but I mean, you got to let it sit there for a little bit. And even, I just feel like it would hurt a lot.
I feel like the ankle bone's going to hurt way more than a nipple piercing would.
But I feel like the ankle tattoo is funny. A nipple piercing is just a nipple piercing.
Yeah.
You just got it. Plus, then any shirt that I wear while it's pierced, I'm going to have the little, barbell outline.
Or you get it caught in the shirt.
That's the other thing.
Ooh.
When I got the eyebrow pierced for last year, I got that thing. I bumped that thing on all sorts of stuff. Never mind on my nipple.
Don't forget, if you want us to get the third nipple on our ankle, all you have to do is text the word the 762-555, get that jackpot up. Someone said, would you rather punch Brock in the face or have Brock punch you in the face? You have to pick one.
Oh, I'm not going to punch you in the face. I would feel terrible. Ooh, I would rather have you punch me in the face. I have a deviated septum from a wrestling accident with my stepdad when I was little. If you punch me the right way, maybe it all gets knocked back into place.
We could arrange that.
Maybe I can finally breathe normally.
I'll wait for one of those days when you piss me off. And I'll let you know.
And then you'll haul off and be like, you asked for this.
It's usually one day a month, so. Someone said, would you rather live in a world where you dance instead of walk or sing instead of talk?
You know what? I'm going to say... no, it's got to be dance instead of walk. I personally don't like dancing, but there's too many people who are bad singers, and if you're trying to have a conversation, imagine going to the bank and applying for a loan and having to talk to a bank manager who sings really badly.
Oh, and they're singing to you and they can't give you the loan?
Right.
Yeah. You have bad credit.
You have been declined.
Although if there was a world of dancing, there'd be a lot more workplace injuries.
That's actually probably true.
Right?
Just try to boogie your way through a work site.
Also, just watching the Olympics would be hilarious, too.
Yeah, no, I think that the dancing is probably the more fun option. I couldn't do the singing.
Someone did say, since it is Devil's Night, would you rather have your house egged or TP'd by kids?
I mean, it's how long have the eggs been outside? Because I got a brick front of my house. If they're frozen enough, they'll just bounce off. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, the eggs, it sucks because, you got a pressure washer, so I guess you can wash it off.
Yeah.
But the toilet paper does seem like a big chore if they, lace you up pretty good.
That's just it. You got to go and you got to pick every bit of it out of the branches and stuff like that. With all the leaves on the ground right now, too. It feels like a mess.
It feels like more of an effort to clean up the toilet paper than it does the egg, to be honest.
Although, I have put up no decorations for Halloween, so if my house got TP'd today, at least I would look like I'm in the festive spirit for tomorrow.
If you want to know where Dolby lives,
Shut
I'll
your
send
mouth.
you his address.
Don't say another word.
All right, we'll wrap up with this one here. Would you rather look at your mom's internet search history or your dad's internet search history?
My mom just uses the internet to watch old music videos from the 80s and craft stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas it would be cool if I could get my hands on my dad's search history, because then I might know where he went to go get the milk, where he's been for the last 20 years.
Has he been looking you up? Does he care?
Right. Has he ever searched my name? I feel like it could be heartbreaking, but it might also give me some closure if I could get his search history.
Papa Dolby, can you hear me?
The Brock and Dolby Podcast.
The Brock and Dolby Podcast.
Ed's word of the day.
Let's see what he's got.
Good morning. Today's word is imponderabilia. Imponderabilia.
Huh?
Yeah. IMPONDERABILIA. Imponderabilia.
Ponderabilia?
And it's things beyond comprehension. I think that's what Buddy was saying when he came up with that word. But anyways, that is what does it. Have a great one. Cheers, you're up.
Thank you, Ed. All right, let me see. I got the pronunciation here. Let's see what it actually is.
Imponderabilia.
Imponderabilia, things that cannot be precisely determined, measured, or evaluated.
Feels like it comes from the word imponderable, which then, of course, is the opposite of ponder. I've been pondering on that.
Yeah.
It's something that's so wild, I can't even think about it.
So imponderabilia is like when your spouse asks you how many drinks you're having tonight, and you're like, that's imponderabilia.
That's imponderable, babe. You know how it is when we get out and drinking.
Yeah, or wondering why your girlfriend is mad at you.
Imponderable, if I've ever heard an imponderable thing.
You know what the best example of imponderabilia actually is? Is when you call the cable company and they say, hey, he's going to show up between this time and that time. Imponderabilia is wondering when the hell is that guy actually actually going to show up.
Wow, a 14-hour window. You guys really narrowed it down, didn't you? That's imponderabilia.
Every cable guy is a professional imponderabilist.
Imponderabiliac?
A biliac? Imponderabilia. Use it wherever you can, all right?
The Brock and Dalby podcast is brought to you by the Brock and Dalby 50/50 raffle in support of Breast Cancer Canada.
Buy your ticket today at bcc5050.ca or click the link in the podcast description.